Endurance Squad is training with a holistic edge, plans for every kind of endurance athlete, plus yoga, mindset, and a team that's always in your corner. Join at YogiTriathlete.com/squad.
Like, not just, Ironman is good, but I wanted like something with fear. And, so I decided if I'm going to do something, I'm going to escape from Alcatraz. So it was a big goal because since I'm little, or when I was growing up, I was a little bit afraid of the sea. And Pinocchio did not do well in my life because of like having fear of being eaten by a whale, like the whole thing of Pinocchio, right? So this was perfect because it's like to go into waters with the possibility of sharks, the possibility of not knowing where it is. And I was not a swimmer, so it's been 3 or 4 years. I think 3 years that have been just like starting. And so it's been very exciting to like finish or like get to Alcatraz. Yeah.
Welcome back to the Yogi Triathlete podcast. We are excited to welcome back Aurora today, a returning guest whose journey with us started at a guided meditation at the Mendocino 50K, then moved into working with me on mindset for her first 100-mile trail race, which, oh my gosh, I was so impressed at that moment with you, and that has continued to grow. And then that moved into a longstanding one-on-one coaching relationship with BJ. And so since that day at the guided meditation at the Mendocino 50K, she has conquered everything from 50Ks to the Tahoe 200, the Canyons 125, her first Ironman 70.3 in her homeland, Monterrey, Mexico, and recently the legendary escape from Alcatraz Triathlon. Aurora is an absolute beam of light. You guys are going to pick up on that real quick. She is enthusiastic and fearless in every challenge, which definitely doesn't mean that she doesn't experience thoughts of fear, you guys. That's not what it's about. It's about moving forward despite. And now she joins us in the beautiful, amazing, powerful community of Endurance Squad. And today we're going to smack down her epic Alcatraz adventure. So let's dive into her story. Aurora, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much. It's definitely full circle to be here and to go back and see your story together. So excited.
Yeah, and the story isn't over yet. The story continues. So yeah, tell us who you are for our guests. Like, catch us up on who you are, what you do, and then also I want to hear, because we can get right to Alcatraz. Like, what made you decide to do Alcatraz?
Yes. So I was born and raised in Mexico and live here in New Hampshire, also the land of the Abenaki people, in a Morning Sun Mindfulness Center. That it's a meditation center based on Plum Village tradition. So we care a lot about mindfulness and being present. So it made perfect click that we looked for something like that for my running and my endurance. I'm also a primary care and I have a dog. I live with Joaquin, which is my partner, that he has supported me. So yeah, full on community, full on mindfulness, full on endurance. Yes, we got it all.
And what because we're going to talk about some of the things that you've done in the past, but what pulled you into Escape from Alcatraz? Like, what made you get in a lottery?
Yes, so I got a lottery 4 times, and then the 5th time I got it. So it's been there. It's been like the seed was planted. So I started as a runner, and then I became a trail runner, and then I became like a long distance trail runner. And then I had an issue with my ankle, and then I was working with UBJ already, and then we started swimming. And I started swimming just like being in the pool and just like very little. And I think very little you transformed me into a triathlete. So when I was like caught on that, I was like, oh, I think if I'm a triathlete, I want to do something like big or like adventurous, like not just, Ironman is good, but I wanted like something with fear. And so I decided if I'm going to do something, I'm going to escape from Alcatraz. So it was a big goal because since I'm little, or when I was growing up, I was a little bit afraid of the sea. And Pinocchio did not do well in my life because of having fear of being eaten by a whale, like the whole thing of Pinocchio, right?
Right.
So this was perfect because it's like to go into waters with the possibility of sharks, the possibility of not knowing where it is. And I was not a swimmer. So it's been 3 or 4 years. I think 3 years that have been just like starting. And So it's been very exciting to like finish or like get to Alcatraz. Yeah.
And to put that into, put that swimming into practice. And a lot of athletes I work with, this is the storybook. This is how it happens. Like you're one sport focused and something happens, injury, whatever it is. And we want to keep momentum going. And so we just have to pivot a little bit and have a little bit of curiosity of, well, is this moving me in the direction, or do I do nothing and just sit until my ankle heals, right? And I don't think a lot of people do well with that. A lot of endurance athletes. So the pivot happens and you embrace swimming, even though it was probably challenging. We just shared mentally it was challenging, but physically to be able to breathe that way in a pool was quite different from what you're used to running, right?
Yes, I think it started with playfulness, and that helped a lot. It was just play, and it was not an obligation, and it was just once a week. So like it was like I have a like free time and like very easy. And then I was like swimming like 40 minutes, doing not like in a good workout, just like swimming like that. And then probably I got bored or something, and then you started like putting me into like workouts. Things.
Yeah, like you've done the Mambo, you've done a 1,100 time trial, like you've done deck ups, you've done all the spicy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, the deck ups were pretty fun, and the people in the pool did not like them, but yes, I did them.
So many preferences in the pool. Okay, I want to know, like, if you're listening to this and you're not familiar with Escape from Alcatraz, before we start diving into like the moment on the boat, which I just want to dive into like the moment on the boat, how would you like describe how is this different than like your, YMCA sprint triathlon, transition area in the parking lot of the, the local YMCA? Like Alcatraz is a completely different animal outside of any triathlon that I've ever seen. So describe just how it is, like the logistics. That's right. Because it's not like you're on the beach and you start swimming.
Yeah, no, it's very epic and it's very iconic. And yes, you start. The idea and the whole idea is I really wanted to like go to Alcatraz inside and then escape, have like the whole thing, but they don't let us do that. So they put you in a ferry, which is pretty exciting. You go in a ferry, you go around Alcatraz to see it. And then from there, you jump. So it's a very purposeful like swim. It's not just out and back. You go from somewhere to get to the bay, like to the beach. And then from there, you have a transition that you have to run. Is the warm-up run from there to get to your bike. Then you go from the bike. The bike is like 18 miles that you go through the Presidium and then to Golden Gate Park and then come back. And then you run. And the run also is not on flat ground. It's like a trail run of 8 miles that you go to the beach, to the sand, to like stairs, like 400 stairs of sand and stuff. So it's kind of adventurous more than just like the regular flat triathlons.
Yeah, it is. I love how you described it. Alcatraz is epic. All right. So bring us to being on the ferry. Like what are the thoughts of being on the ferry? I'm assuming they're doing like, I don't know how many people are jumping at once, but you're in line, and what's going on in the mind?
So we're around 1,500 people, and to move that kind of people, like from the transition area, you have to be there like at 3 or 4 in the morning, and then you get to the boat. So you're in the boat like 2 hours, like with people coming, and then getting a spot and stuff like that. So the mind can go pretty fast, pretty rapid all around. So yes, it was very helpful to have the pranayama, meditations that were practiced during the training, and breathing and calm. And the idea was like being calm during all of this like 2 hours of just waiting to go to the unknown. It was like online. And before they didn't do time trials, or trials that you go and jump, but now they do. So there's a person that tells you like, now jump. And in the packet that you read before doing it, it tells you like, you have to jump. If you hesitate, they put you on the back of the line. So there's no way I'm going to hesitate. Like there's no way. Yeah, just going to go to the back of the line.
Love that. Like jump or go to the back of the line.
Exactly. So, and in the training, it's like how I'm going to jump from there, like the goggles, the cap, like, do you put your 2 feet? Like, you cannot go diving, but you have to go like straight down. So there was a whole mindset going for that moment. And it's also very cold. So you're with the cap and you're with your earplugs, because then you can have like a little bit of dizziness if it's too much cold water. So all of that goes into this moment that I think it's just like life and time stops when you go from the boat to the unknown, to the water. And then in the water, BJ told me, like, instead of freaking out, instead of like, because it's cold, so you just have to breathe in deeply and just like your body just shakes. Instead of feeling that is like the activation. It's like we're on, it's happening. So I thought of that. And also a friend of mine told me, like, when you jump, don't like go crazy going to the top. Like you're going to float. So just calm, like be calm and you're going to float. And then you start your race. So that's how it started. And also like there's the river, there's a current that comes. So you have to know where to see and how to spot. So all of those are like little details that I had to learn. And also like their waves and how to time the waves with your breathing. And so what I did is I asked for a safe passage. I was like, please, Mother Earth, please, dear water, like take me. I'm your daughter. I'm here to understand the unknown, but please just take care of me. And it did. It did pretty well. Like it was very soft landing. It was an epic swim. When you go, I decided to stop and see back like the ferry and the sun going up and island. So that's magnificent. And then to continue. And yeah, that's how it starts. Pretty fun.
And as far as like framework, like you weren't swimming a ton of open water.
I know.
You didn't have access to that. Like you're training in New Hampshire in the winter, and you know that we're also from New England and understand how challenging it is to get going early season, to get outdoors for races when the training is mostly done indoors. For most of us, I know you tend to trek out a little bit more bravely into the conditions, but you didn't have open water swim practice and you didn't have a reference point from before. Even the 70.3 you did was in quite warm waters, clear waters, and this is totally different from that. So can you like share, like you did share like your mindset piece, but is there a mantra? Was there a way to like not get so wrapped up in like, I haven't swam open water yet, I haven't done jumping off a boat yet? Like, how did you wrap your brain around that and not freak out?
Yes, that's the practice of enoughness. Like it's enough. It's enough, and I don't have to be totally ready to do it. Ready is not just like the feeling of readiness is the palpitations, and readiness is like the action. Like we're just gonna continue to move forward and to move forward to discover. Like I'm not gonna know if I have it all completely or not, but I'm willing to trust the process and to see it. I was able to do some water, open water back in, it was in December, I think, or when I was in Mexico, but it's very warm waters. And then I had exposure to cold temp because I like to do cold plunges. So I did some cold plunges, but not like swimming. And I remember like one telephone call with BJ is like, yeah, your hands are going to be numb. And I was like, what? Like I was not expecting that. Yeah, feel your fingers and your toes. What? So I was like, okay, I guess we're going to see how that feels and try not to get into like, oh, am I getting sick? Am I in trouble? To trust that we're being taken care of. Like there were so many people like there in the race, like kayaks and people in their paddle boards. So to trust that I'm being taken care of and that I can do it. And if there's something that I feel that is not right, I have the capacity to stop it. I don't have to go. I can just like go to the boat, go to the kayak and be okay with that experience, but to have experience. So it's a lot of trusting and faith, faith on my training and to think like I did enough. I did my workout and I did enough. And I think throughout the couple of years that I've been doing this trail running, there's nothing that prepares you for a 200 miles. I have never done it. Like the most I've done is 100 miles. So after that is unknown and it's enough. Like, yeah, the enoughness practice that I have enough, I did enough, and faith.
Yeah, well, so much as you know, and I think this is why we work so well together, relies on trust and faith. It relies on you to believe in something that maybe you can't quite see yet, like with the eyes, like you just can't grasp it, but inside. And I think this comes from a lot of the work we do with the mind and the body connection is like trust that as long as you keep moving forward and it feels aligned and you're moving your way closer to it, then you're going to accomplish it. And the derailment happens when we indulge in the negativity or the fear and doubt. Although, as Jess said in the beginning, like it's there. It's always going to be there. If we can just accept that it'll be there, we just don't have to overindulge in it. We can say, you can come along, but you're not driving the ship here. Like, I'm driving, you can sit next to me and come along. So I think that's a testament to not only like your mindset practice in the community that you live in, but also your consistency. Like, I don't know if there was ever a red box in Training Peaks, like, ever. I'd have to go back and check that. But in 5 years, I don't know if there was a red box.
But I think what makes Aurora so exceptional is that, which means you're the exception, is that all the boxes have been green for all the years that you guys have worked together, but you do it with a sense of lightness. You do it with like discipline, but discipline doesn't equal rigidity. When you can have discipline and a lightness to have gratitude and joy for the ability to move your body every day, for the ability to have a coach, the ability to, have the registration fees, that I think just brings in such a higher level of performance in your training, of course, in your racing, but also in your life and the way that you perform and show up in your life for yourself and for others and for your patients and for your community. And that's like a discernment I've really been making with a lot of my clients. It's go, because a lot of it's hard work ethic, ticking the boxes, getting it done. And so what I teach a lot is softening, is a softness, like soften the muscles in your face, like soften your shoulders, like soften your self-judgment, soften that critique, but don't get lazy. Like, be disciplined and be open. And I think that's would you agree, BJ? I think that's what I really see in you, Aurora, but also in any athlete that really hits this level of excellence. And excellence is, sure, it can have absolutely to do with the time on the finish clock and the placement in your age group, but it also is the how of how things get done, because it's not what we do. What we do is not who we are, but how we do it is most certainly a marker of who we are.
Yes, absolutely. Like, I think the most important thing is the process. Like, how do I show up for the process? Like, how every day counts. And then, celebration day is race day. It's like all the accumulation of all these years. So it's so important for me to have joy if I'm doing my run. And if joy doesn't happen at the beginning, I mean, that's fine. I'm not so attached to like, oh, I'm not having fun, so it's not worth it. No, it's not like that. It's more like, I get to do this. Like, I get to have a body. I get to experiment this. It was like 25,000 people sign up for this and only 14,000 were able to do it. So it's like, it's already an honor to be there, to have the capacity, as you say, like to fly from here to San Francisco and to have the means and everything in order. And I also see like all these endeavors, like kind of a spiritual movement, like they're like Dharma doors. So it's like they're opening like a threshold for me to go through. So this threshold is like the whole 3.5 hours that I did it. So the threshold started with me jumping. And then I had to continue to do this threshold in order to move spirituality and to move things that I don't even know that they're moving. But I think I truly believe in that. Like, my mom just got diagnosed with breast cancer. And the moment I didn't know if I was going to be able to do like Ironman, 70.3 in Monterey, because we didn't know when she was going to have the chemos and stuff like that. And also even for Alcatraz, I didn't even know if I was going to be able to make it because of the surgery or like things that she was doing. So the moment I finished Ironman, the next day I went with her and we had an appointment with the doctor and she started chemo. So it was like, what? Like, momentum of what I'm doing here expresses and is the direct movement to other spots. And then the Alcatraz was the week after we went to the last appointment for her last chemo, that we didn't know that was going to happen, but they decided because the tumor has reduced so much that she doesn't need extra chemos. So I was a little bit blown away because I'm a little bit scientific and skeptic, but I was like, this is movement in another level of energy.
Yeah, it's like when you get out of the way, even the big things in life, kind of require us to get out of the way, but we can still cling in our mind, and worry about things. And not that you didn't have concern for your mom, but when we kind of get out of the way, you see this like insane lineup of timing where you're like, I never would have been like, okay, I'm going to finish Monterey and then we're going to go do the chemo and blah, blah. Like, even to schedule that consciously, like, I'm going to do this, Mom, and then we'll schedule it for, like, there's almost like oh, is that selfish that I'm going to do this race and then I'm going to but you just let it happen. And when you let it happen, man, it falls into place. Like, I mean, we know that, like, it is so, we actually had that experience today. We were like, oh my God, that's so funny. When you just back off and give something space, watch it fall into place. Yeah, that's so beautiful. And I like how, the joy. Yeah, like I don't go out for every workout like, yay! It's just like, this is what I get to do. I'm disciplined. I'm going to show up for it. And never on the other side of a workout do I ever like not feel good, right? There's like that physiological response that happens. Things are getting released from the brain. Like, you feel good, you feel strong, you feel confident, you feel accomplished. So it's like, just get started, just get started and keep going. Should we?
Well, I want to hear like when you go ahead.
What, you going to go to the bike?
Well, I want to see what it was like to hit land. Like, was it,
was
it elation, or were you like, is that it?
Well, I mean, it's long. It takes, it's 1.5 miles. So I remember that in training, we talked about like the mind will want to go to the next thing, right? Like the mind is going to want to like, what's going to happen when I land? What's going to happen? And instead of enjoying the moment, because tomorrow I'm going to miss being in the sea or like being with all these people. So enjoy the stroke. Enjoy the effort. And even if it was hard, it's like I'm pushing my body and I'm pushing the earth and we're in this going together. So I felt like if we were like little salmons all going through space. So, and then when I got near to the shore, it got a little bit more choppier. And of course, you have like some water in your face and all that stuff. And then a little bit dizzy, going into and crawling a little bit. But again, I practice that, with the deck ups, every 100 like yards, I was going to do deck ups to know that can happen. And it's okay if I feel a little bit dizzy, just take it slow and then continue. So yes, I got out and there were like strippers and that helped to take off the wetsuit because there's half a mile that we have to run from the beach to get to the bike. So I put on some shoes and Joaquin told me I was pretty fast in that transition. I was like, because people were like trying and whatever. I was like, no, like we're taking like minutes off this. So it's okay because it's just half a mile to run. So let's just like do it our fastest. So yeah. And then I got into the bike and I was impressed. I mean, the bike, I didn't put my attention because I was very focused on the fear of swimming in the Bay Area with all the current, the choppiness and everything. But the bike course is so iconic, but also insane on going down. Like it's down, it has sharps. And I remember BJ put in my training pics, like, remember for the bike, you have to be so mindful, so conscious because there's so many people and there's, the asphalt is not great and all that stuff. So it was scary. I was very scared during the bike course. I was like, oh, I don't want to die here.
Can I just say, on your rental bike, wasn't even your bike. Like you rented a bike.
Yeah, this is the second. So Monterey 70.3 and Alcatraz, you rented a bike. And I just have to say that is not what most people do. I would say that is
I agree. And it was a little scary. I got the bike the day before and we were trying to be friends, the first day. So I got to know the bike. And yeah, I had to do this because, of course, in my life, I wish I had more space between Alcatraz and the next thing I was doing, but there was no space. I had to go next time. We had a retreat, a very important retreat in France. So I was like finishing Alcatraz the next day, flying to France. So there was no option to get, a bike. So the only thing is rental bike. So that's it. We'll figure it out. We'll work it out.
Yeah, that's the mindset. We'll figure it out. We don't have to have all the details of the spreadsheet filled in. We'll figure it out. And the more that you do that, or the more that you're willing to do that, the more that's going to have less of a like grab or hold on you into this fear or doubt that what could possibly go wrong. Instead, it's like, oh my God, what an amazing adventure this can be. This is the second race I'm going to rent a bike. This is so cool. And I don't have to carry a bike with me to France. Although it probably would have been cool to cycle in France. I know that you have a different agenda for sure.
I agree. I
But
agree.
yeah, so the turns and stuff, I think that was I'm glad you mentioned that. That's an important piece as someone who you don't ride a lot outside and you don't have twisty, turny turns like that in New Hampshire. So yeah, so you had to slow down, which is also like counterproductive to like having your fastest time. But it was a slowing down to be mindful. It was a slowing down to like look at what's happening while it's happening and understand the fastest way you can get to where you want to go is by staying on your bike.
Right.
Number one.
Absolutely. And I mean, I got the ups and downs. So I got that capacity here in New Hampshire. But yeah, I didn't have the sharp turns or like that too much of experience of going fast down and then sharp move. But then, that was the experience, to learn that there.
Yeah, right in the race experience. There we go. All right. Do you want to talk anything about the bike?
Do you do loops or is it one big loop?
It's one big loop. You go up to Presidium, then you go down, you go to Golden Gate, and then you come back. So It's not multiple loops. It's just one 18 mile.
And then you saw, you were able to watch the T100, which happened the day before, and they had like just the most gorgeous weather. Did you guys have similar or were you fogged in?
No, Mother Earth was very nice to me. Like
so
I was
wonderful.
so thankful. Because
Yeah.
it was not fog, because that's a possibility for the swim, and then you don't see anything, so you don't know where you're going. So no, we had like the water also was warm. 57 degrees, so it was cold, but not. I didn't have my hands frozen, so I was very grateful.
Good. Yeah, and I want to ask you about tips and stuff, but I don't want to ask that until we talk about the run.
Yeah, let's get to the run.
Let's talk about the sand stairs.
This is in
Right?
your wheelhouse.
Yes.
Yeah, tell us about that.
So then I went back and I was just so happy, so celebration, because it was also a trail run. So I'm very comfortable in trails, I was just like smashing it, going so fast and going up and down. And when we got to the beach, Mendocino, we have done Mendocino so many times with beach sand and stuff like that. So it was like, yes, I've done this before. And then the day before, BG told me, oh, it would be a good idea for you to go and check the ladder. So I went and saw it and did it before, because the ladder is 400 steps with sand and it's moving and everyone is so tired. So the intention of that was expansion. Like, this is where I expand and all this energy. So I push. But then at the end of the ladder, that's not the end of the hill. You still have to go a little bit further to get out of the hill and then go down. And then I was like, I don't know what people thought of me, because I was like shouting. It was like, kill the quads. We're getting out of this, because we're ending in 4 miles. Like, it's so fast compared to 200 or compared to 50K. Like, this is like, we're ending it. So let's bring the pain.
Isn't the run 8 miles?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
But the last 2 or 3 is like, or 4 is like flat. It's pretty much like, or flat-ish.
You go down and then it's flat 3 miles. So yes, I was trying, and I was very happy. I'm getting faster, because we're all getting faster in squad, I think, or Yogi Triathlete, we're getting faster. As BJ gets faster,
yes,
we're all getting faster.
That's the next t-shirt. We're all getting faster.
Yes. I was surprised. I was able to get 8-minute, miles like at the end. So yeah, for faster. Yeah.
I want you to share anything that comes to mind, like tips for somebody who's, putting their name in the lottery, has this on their bucket list, tips for the swim or the bike or the run or all three, like anything that comes to mind.
Yeah. So I like to go a little bit earlier, just because of the bike, or to get more space between you getting into the new city and the triathlon, and rent a place that is close to the venue, because I was able to bring the bike and ride the bike instead of getting into taxis and stuff like that. So being close to there and have a coach. I follow instructions. That's what I do. I do it pretty well. I really like all the instructions I had for the 70.3, and then I learned it pretty fast. So I was able to have my little mat and everything in order. And it was very important. They didn't let us do goose. So I was like, okay, what I'm going to do with nutrition. So I double up my nutrition on the bottles. And also I got a little goo. Well, it's not a goo. It's like a little, I don't know, it's not a water bottle, but it's similar to the flasks, but it's smaller for the goose. So I got that for nutrition. So figure the time that you can have before the race can help you to figure out these details, basically. And I also like to get early as a BJ athlete. No, get early to the transition area so you can have calm and be okay and not be frantic about stuff and not indulge on the people that are frantic and all over the place.
Yeah, you don't need to add more stress. Like I see it maybe because I've experienced it and seen it so many times. They're like rushing to the last minute to get into transition, get all their stuff set up, and you're adding to the level of stress that's already a low-lying level going into the race yourself, even if you get there early. So why would we add to it? Plus, we don't really sleep well, the night of a race. So get up and get down there and get the mind on board and give yourself plenty of time. I think that's such a huge tip. Yeah. You're always like, when are you going to get down to the race? I'm like, when does transition open? I want to be right there.
I know.
Yeah. And even here, there was a line already. So because we're plenty. So early is a good tip. Yeah. I also went to swimming before the day of the race, and that helped a lot. Like to just get into the bay and not be the first time I go into the bay when there's the ferry. So one day before I go to do the same practice.
And you had to sign up for that long before you got to the actual race. So there's like a lot of logistics for this race ahead of time, right?
Yes. And when I say like, just being part of the process, it doesn't mean that I am just looking at it or like just very passive. It's like with calmness, read the race that you're doing and understand, like, for example, for the rental, I knew because there were so many people, I had to rent that bike probably 6 months. Just when I got into, I knew, okay, I need to rent the bike. I need to know my swimming and stuff like that. If that's the thing that I have interest.
What was, I'm curious, as you reflect upon your day, is there any like subtle like moment or experience that you were surprised by? You're just like, I didn't expect that.
Well, I didn't expect the bikes to be so crazy. To have so much fear in the bike. I thought I got nailed it or like something. So happily surprised to still be learning. I was I was happy that I was happy all the time, but I think that's because of the idea of this is a threshold that I know it has a purpose, bigger than just finishing the raid or bigger than just like the medal or like a checkpoint or like a thing to do. But like this has a bigger purpose that even though if I don't know it, I know it's happening. So that helps me.
Yeah, and you're like your breadth of like races that you can execute, like you're racing hard at a Olympic distance triathlon, but not too long ago you were running a 200-mile trail race. So you're at the extreme. Actually, let's take it even more extreme because I think you PR'd your 5K this year or just recently. Like, so you're going from 5K to 200 miles, right? So someone would look at that and be like, well, how can you have it all? How can you be successful at doing that, such a difference in there in distance? And you found a way to do it. You found a way to continually do it and take it a step further and just dip your toes into other areas of sport, like combining things and isolating things. So how can you what would you attribute that to, your ability to like be okay with whatever is?
That's the practice. It's not easy, of course. It's the practice of being openness to the experience. Like it's going to be an experience no matter what. If it's raining, if it's awful, if the trail has like a lot of mud or like it's very hot or it's very cold, like everything is going to be like an adventure. So that curiosity and that wanting to be there for the experience. Because, for example, like when I run in the morning, I don't know if it's going to be like a magical sunset or sunrise. But if I'm there, I'm going to experience it. If I'm not there, it's not going to happen. So putting myself in there, no matter what, being open.
Yeah. So I had mentioned in the intro that you and I started working together on mindset, and somebody would say, well, she lives in a mindful community. Like, why does she need mindset training? Why does she need, somebody to work with meditation? And then you continued on and, really absorbed this coaching and lifestyle and way of being that Yogi Triathlete represents in the endurance sports space. How has that complemented your already existing mindfulness practice? Or I would say complemented, but like expanded. Was there anything that, you were able to take from Yogi Triathlete and say, wow, this is really expanding this thing that I already did? Or was it just like kind of the same thing with different languaging?
I think it's an expansion. And as BJ say, like different spaces, or like, the experience of Tahoe 200 or the experience of a 5K, like that's the same experience of meditation, like meditation in a cushion, meditation on swimming, meditations, walking meditation. Our teacher, like, it's a lot about like, are you doing your dishes? Are you doing it in consciousness, meditation, mindfulness? And I don't do it all the time. Or like walking meditation. I don't like, even though it's repetition, and the teacher always says like, do it, do it, do it. That doesn't mean I do it. So it's always complementary. Like I'm human. And I think that's, well, maybe that's not the issue, but like I have a human mind and it tends to go to the same places. Like the fear is the same fear, or like the doubts are the same doubts. Like even though I've done 100 miles, like, or like even though I have doubts, that's why I needed like help a little bit to get a little bit to stop that pattern, or like where is that pattern getting me? So I need sometimes people outside my brain to give me cues to say like, okay, focus on this. Okay, I'll do that. Focus on this. For example, instead of being super stressed or fearful about the cold water, okay, activation. Or like instead of like, there's a pain in my ankle, opportunity. So those kind of key points help the mind have a more focus or better guidance. So meditation practices like, for example, the guided meditations sometimes that we do, or like the lying down and calming my body, getting to know my body, like all of those is just an expansion of the same experience. So I can have more tools for my future life.
I love that you mentioned washing the dishes. It reminds me of this, one of the sutras in the Yoga Sutras, where they talk about like, are your dishes crying? Like as you're putting away your dishes, like, are they crying or are they peaceful? Like, how are you? And that's up to us, right? Like how we're doing it. Are we slamming things around, making a lot of noise, being really rough, or are we being mindful with it? And I think about that all the time. Like when BJ's putting away the dishes, I'm like, they're crying. Stop making the dishes cry. Yeah, that's really great. And I think, I mean, we also work with, somebody outside of us, right? And when you're in it, you're in it. And even though we have awareness, it's so, I mean, any spiritual teaching or teaching on mindset or whatever always says like having that teacher, having that guide, because somebody outside of you can see it, that objective perspective, right? We're not entangled in it, in the history and the self-judgment and things like that. So having that outside of you. And that's one of the reasons why I love all the guided meditations. I do them too. I create them, but I also do them. It's so nice to have that guidance. Yeah.
With you did mention like you kind of feel meditative in different areas, like the running and swimming specifically. Like, has that just been like just an eye-opening experience for you, swimming lap after lap after lap, like constantly back and forth, and making it such a meditative process that it just flows, it just happens? Because you've sent me swim video of your stroke, and it's so smooth, it's calm, it's easeful, even when you're doing faster sets. So yeah, has that meditative practice like really soaked in?
Yes, I like the laps on the pool have helped me for doing more intervals at running, and being okay with having like 8 intervals at running and saying like, yeah, it's like just like the pool. You do one after one after one, instead of like thinking like, oh, I need to do a big loop on a big mountain and a big experience. It's like, no, I just have this little hill. I'll do 20 of them. That's fine.
Speaking of, yeah, like big loops and on a big mountain, is there an adventure or something that you haven't tackled yet that like taps you on the shoulder or whispers to you?
Well, I mean, I have a wish list, like for like, trails or adventures or stuff like that. And I say a wish list because they can change, and it's just putting a seed and then it will happen. But since I started running, I wanted to go with the Tarahumara people in Chihuahua. That's like the people in the canyons. And I also want to go to like the reservations, or more to the land, how they do prayer and running.
You did a race in Mexico that was really cool. I think it was a couple of years ago, where you ran like to the ocean, didn't you?
Yes, it was from the ocean to the ocean in Baja, from one side of Baja to the other side of Baja. So it was in the desert, and we had some Tarahumara people that went there, and we were joining by them. And that was very magical and spiritual. But it's still like, my idea would be like, for example, to do the Great Canyon, in prayer or meditation, or like the way they go through rituals or passage rituals to, go in search of meaning and purpose and, understanding and magic. So I still don't know, but somewhere those are the lines that I'm looking for.
What can you say, like, why would someone want to go into endurance training this way with mindfulness, with a calm, with a competitor and a determined like vibe? And why would someone want to do that? Why do you think someone would want to do that?
The answer is why not? Like, it's so fun. Like, it's why, like, I don't understand how another way is possible. We don't have to suffer. There's already so much suffering in life. Suffering is one of the first realities. So we don't have to make it worse. Like, suffering is already there. So having a mindset, having community, having a purpose, having intention makes life beautiful. So it's like when we run, we can make a difference. We can have peace. Like, we don't have to be fighting. So if I have peace, one of the sayings that we have in our tradition is like peace in oneself, peace in the world. Like, if I can run in peace and I can bring that peace into the triathlon. And I think you do that. Like, you bring this energy to a triathlon. We don't have to be attached to the form, attached to the number, attached to an outcome. We can have more space and expand and create realities that are beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think at triathlon, I'm glad. And I'm so grateful that you've experienced both communities, like the trail community, which is like, wow, so incredible. And then you've experienced like what Ironman and triathlon brings too, which is a different kind of community and a different level of intensity. And you've had experience in both. And I think as you see, like you can witness like what's happening, you can go within. Like you always have that ability and capacity to go within to find the peace and calm and then watch the others have peace and calm too. And I think I would say generalize like more in the trail community, it's more receptive. And in the triathlon community, I think the nerves are a little bit higher because there's so many logistics and things involved in it. But you've been able to experience both, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, and it's been a growing process. And yes, there's so many details in triathlon. Like in trail, I just put my like tennis shoes and go, and that's it. I mean, yes, a little bit of food and all that stuff, but it's not that like now the transition and the bike and the helmet and the thing. But it's fun. It's fun to experience different capacities and different spaces in the mind, and how we get to anxiety and offer it more space, how we get to fear and offer more space. Yeah, a little bit more space around.
So we've talked about fear a couple times. We haven't really dove in that much, but you're not without, I'm going to make an assumption, you're not without thoughts of fear or even experiences of fear, like on the bike course at Alcatraz. But somebody who is, really living in that survival type state, which I think a lot of people are living. I know a lot of people are living in that survival type state where there's always kind of like a high alert. How do you keep moving forward when you are in a state of like where you're feeling some fear about either something that's real, like a very technical descent on a bike course, or something almost imaginary in your mind, like what's going to be in the water, what could possibly be in the water in San Francisco Bay? Like, how do you keep moving forward in the face of fear, which is essentially what I'm asking?
Well, the practice is, or like in our meditation, we invite the fear as if it was a baby, and we like with the breathing, we try to like let them know that we're okay. It's like we're okay. Like, yes. So it's a process of acknowledging, like, yes, Aurora, of course you're gonna have fear. Like, who will not have fear if there's possibility of sharks? And let alone the sharks, the current, the open sea. People die in triathlon. Like, it's a reality. So it's not that I'm denying. So it's like, yes, of course, I have that feeling, that rush, and I'm okay. Like, and the breathing helps me to have more space and perspective. And the same for, anger, anxiety, and fear. So the day before Alcatraz, like I spoke to Joaquin, like, what happens if I die? Like, it's a reality, but then it's a meditation practice that I do every day, like, because I could die every day, or we don't know it. So the idea is how I want that when that day approaches, the fear probably is going to be there, but it's less, how to say, attached to me, or like it's less powerful. that I know is there, and I know it's in human emotions because, of course, we want the survival and we have fear of dying. But how can I have more space and time and not be so reactive to it? So it's a practice of every day thinking, I can die. So it's called the 5 remembrances. I know that I'm the nature of getting old and I cannot escape old age. I know that I'm of the nature of getting sick and I cannot escape that. I know I am the nature of dying and I cannot escape that. I know that everything I like is going to be separated from me, is going to change. So I cannot escape that. And only the things that are my continuation are my actions. So those are the things that I practice every day to try to detach a little bit. And that doesn't mean that when I get, the news that my mom has cancer, I'm not freaking out. Like, of course I have a reaction, but the space and capacity to hold my fear, to hold my sadness, it's a little bit bigger than just being activated.
Yes.
Like my grief, I can hold my grief with more grace and more space and let it be instead of blocking it and have so much energy of denying. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, you're really just diffusing it. You're diffusing it by acknowledging it and you're just acknowledging it and accepting it. It doesn't mean that it's easy, but you understand that this is part of what we do here in this Earth school. Like, this is part of reality. So if we're going to continue to resist it and block it out and not really notice, we're going to create frustration and resistance and sadness and all that when it arises. But we can really just move a little bit smoother through that by acknowledging that it's there and that we are capable of moving past it in due time. Right. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Anything else? Anything else you want to say?
Welcome to Endurance Squad. Today's your first day in Endurance Squad. What are you excited about?
Well, it's a totally unknown thing. It's been 5 years that, I've been so happy and working with BJ. Sometimes I joke that he knows me better because of my heart rate and all my workouts, that sometimes I know myself. So it's an experience. It's already jumping again to the unknown and trying to work with myself and trying to understand, what do I gonna need instead of someone telling me what to do, which I prefer. But now is the next level of can I trust in me and my sensation and notice which is the reality? Yes, I need to have a rest day, or no, this is just me resisting. So it's gonna be an experience.
Well, and we're always right there, right? You drop a question anytime, in the community, we're right there. So on those days of BJ, you know me better than me. I don't know.
What am I thinking right now?
I think I need a rest day, but I really want to push through. What do I do? And so, you still have that access. It just looks a little different. It actually asks a little more of you to say, oh, okay, I can wing this, or I can go in there, type a little question, and no, I'm going to get my answer. And it's it will require a little bit more forethought of okay, this workout's tomorrow. I need to ask the question today, or I need to ask the question before I lace up my shoes. But yeah, we're right there. We're right there for you on the whole community. So we're really excited to see you in there. You're definitely will infuse it with your beautiful light. And we're so grateful for your time today. Thank you so much, Aurora. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. It's been I just want to wrap it up. Amazing experience. I don't take it lightly how, dedicated and committed you are or have been to the process and to these epic adventures, and never waning from them, always being willing to butt right up against the moment when a decision actually does need to be made, not any time before or after. It's right on time. And that takes a lot of curiosity and willingness, but it also demonstrates your determination and your courage to keep moving forward, and that you believe in yourself. And in order to trust me as a coach, you have to trust yourself. And I think that's a really, really powerful piece of who you are, Aurora. And I thank you for being here for so long. And I can't wait to see you over in Endurance Squad. Thank you for all you've done.
And I'm really, really happy to hear that your mom got kicked out of chemo, because that's just wonderful news. So we're so happy. We've been thinking about you guys and her along this whole journey as you continue to train and live your life, which I think is so important. And that can be a real press point for people. I've experienced it in my own life when somebody very dear to you is, their health is failing, and life just so unapologetically continues. And so must we. So bravo to just your success in San Francisco, and love to your mom and your family and this next chapter. And we'll see you inside Squad.
Yes, thank you so much. And of course, you bring so much out to the world. So thank you for keep doing that. It's amazing.
Okay, we will.
If you're enjoying the Yogi Triathlete podcast, you'll love our other show, Awake Athlete. 5 complete seasons, short, potent, no surface chatter episodes to train the mind like you train the body. Season 6 is live now. Search for Awake Athlete wherever you get your podcasts and start listening today.